Hey everybody, welcome back to the 6th round post-fight show. We are back live on video for the first time in a million years, bringing you guys all our immediate post-fight antics, feelings, amazement, disappointment. It's all there. It's all here. Man, so we're just coming to you guys straight from the end of UFC 287. Went down at the Miami-Dade Arena in Miami, Florida, with me, your host Zane Simon, my co-host Eddie Mercado. I'm getting a little excited. I'm a little, ahead of myself here, just because it's been too long, man.
I almost forgot what you looked like.
I know.
I just been using the highlight reel that I've had.
Yeah, holding me close. Get the mental image there. Yeah. I'm glad to refresh. You know, I got to get you back feeling it a little.
Someone's gonna get fired for this. You're putting us on video again. Oh,
I know.
Man,
so we're here coming to y'all. UFC 287.
This is the perfect card to video.
What a card to come back to. UFC 287 just wrapped up. Israel Adesanya is middleweight champion once again. And man, like, you got it. It's got to be props to Izzy, because that is absolutely, he slayed the dragon. This is the mountain that he had to climb. He has been rolling that stone up it so many times and has not been able to get that win. And he went out there, and it looked like he was going to get shit kicked again. It was not good. And
no. But, hey, I'll tell you this, though. He had the right energy going into fight week. The energy he had, in the first MMA match, not it, right? You could just tell something was off. But this one... it's almost like he got over that initial fear of being knocked out again, and he was like, "Okay, it happened. It wasn't that bad. Now, I don't have to fear that anymore. Now I can just go and be aggressive and be me and do my thing." And wow, what a perfect answer to that sort of blitz up against the cage. I mean,
do you buy possum? Yeah, do you buy that? Do you buy the possum?
No. That wasn't possum. He was getting his leg chewed up. He was forced to switch stances. He got caught with the barrage. He was backed up on the cage. He ate that nasty body shot. He ate a knee, but he went to the point where he was just going to do what he did at the end of the first MMA fight. Nah, he bit down on his mouthpiece and chucked the overhand right and caught Pereira clean as day, and then threw the same overhand right, and then threw the left behind it, and they both connected flush. Poatan out on impact. Super necessary academic hammer fist. I mean, talk about revenge.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is that, like, he has had that exact moment in the last two fights that they had together. Like, this has always been right there. It has always been right on the cusp of happening.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew it was possible, but it always, he has to go through hell to do it. And it's hard. It was so hard for me to imagine that, like, we talk about, man, he had the right energy coming in. He'd been like, I've been knocked out. I know what to do. I know, I have to fear it anymore. It's like, yeah, but where would that? Why wasn't that energy there the last time? You'd been knocked out before that by him. Like, what would change coming in this time to be like, man, I got knocked out twice? That really makes me feel like I don't have to worry about it now.
He had nothing to lose whatsoever going into this one. Yeah. He had everything to lose in that first.
That's true. That is true. He was already king. It was a big deal. So I can't be more impressed. Like, even the possum idea, sure, I get that would be an impressive idea. That's fun if he wants to sell us that, whatever. But especially if it's not playing possum, that's just more impressive. Like, you are really at the edge of getting absolutely shit kicked. And
it was a 3-piece this time. That's what
yeah,
was different. If you watch, it was the right hand to the left staggered him, but this time it was the overhand right and then another overhand right to left.
yeah,
That was the missing component to him getting the finish, and he pulled it off, man. Nothing but respect. Being able to come back like that with the confidence that he had. That's some serious mental toughness right there. We always knew, like you said, we knew he had the tools. We knew he could, but he finally just found a way to seal the deal. Like, I need to see it again.
Well, that's the thing now, right? Like, as far as the UFC is concerned, they're 1-1. This whole like 1-3 business, any of that. This was Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira 2. That's all the UFC cares about. So, are we going to book this right away again? I see somebody in our chat room is saying Poatan versus Bobby. I mean, obviously, if you're Robert Whittaker, that is what you're saying because you know that they're not going to throw you right back in against Israel Adesanya when you're 0-2 against him. So if you're Whittaker, you're out there going like, man, I think I need to fight Pereira before he can get another title shot. And if I can beat him, then I get that title shot.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. But if you're Pereira, you want nothing else. You want nothing more than the instant rematch or the instant rubber, I guess I should say. Like there's nothing to gain from facing Bobby Knuckles for Alex Pereira.
Yeah. If you're Alex Pereira, you say, I beat this guy before. I became champ. I beat this guy many times before. One result doesn't change it. I got to go right back. And you got to give me this one. You got to give me the chance to run this one right back. Right. And if you're the UFC too.
Unless, of course, Alex decides, fuck this weight cut. Like, I'm dying doing this. Like, I'm going to move up and go spark these fools.
He has been saying he wants to go up to light heavyweight and someday in the future. And, you know, Jamal Hill's already calling him out right there.
They had a stare down right after the Glover fight in the cage.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, too, like, we were talking about this just in the on the vivisection and other things like that too. People were saying like, oh, you know, everything above 185 should just be like one division basically. Like Pereira, there are heavyweights that I would pick him to beat. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
So if he wants to move up divisions, I'm going to be there to watch it. No question about it. I don't know. Like, yeah, that would be the only other X factor. And if he does move up, then, you know, you're looking at then Robert Whittaker, you know, yeah, maybe they throw him right back in there. Otherwise, you know, somebody like Dricus du Plessis or somebody like that is going to have to be looking at trying to make a charge to get in title contention. But I don't think the UFC is ready to make that move right now.
No, it's either Whittaker or bust, honestly, if Alex is moving up. I love Dricus, don't get me wrong, but I think he needs at least one.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
And if you're the UFC too, you got to be looking at this too and just be saying like, you know, we love Robert Whittaker, but this is the big fight for us. I can say at least in terms of bloody elbow, in terms of fan engagement, in terms of traffic, in terms of what's going on out there, this looked like a big event, you know?
It felt like a big event.
Yeah, people were showing up for this. So if you're the UFC, I got to imagine they turn around and do this one again. Is probably the way they're going to go.
For me, personally, like it's kind of a no-brainer, honestly. Like you get a finish in the first, you get a finish going the other way in the second. Of course, you do it a third time.
Yeah. All right, let's get jump down here to the welterweight fight, our co-main event: Gilbert Burns, Jorge Masvidal, and I mean, in some ways, I'll say Masvidal did a little better than I thought he would do here. I kind of thought he would get run over and I thought Gilbert Burns won every round, but Masvidal didn't get like humiliated out there. It was especially early on, it was a pretty competitive fight. Once Burns in the third round, he was losing like the first half of that third round. It's just like, what are you doing? And then he just started biting down and wailing on Masvidal. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess you're doing that.
See, and I was expecting Burns to do that from belt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, for me, Masvidal
too, but he was trying to not get booed in his home state.
Yeah, you think that's it? He just didn't want to.
I don't want to say he was carrying Masvidal, but I really felt like any moment if Burns just stepped on the gas, he probably could have got a finish.
Yeah. I mean, it honestly, like I say, it was a closer fight than I thought it would be. But even that said, it was still a fight where I thought Burns clearly won every round. Even the first round where it was just kind of like, he's not really doing that much, and Masvidal's kicking his legs a bunch. It still was like, okay, but if I really look at this and like who's doing landing the actual big strikes, who's making something really happen in this round, it's still Gilbert Burns.
100%. I love that Masvidal's calling it now, Like, he had this career, like he had the longest career and no one ever knew who he was outside of the nerds. And then, the whole Nate Diaz thing happens. He gets the BMF belt. He gets 2 cracks at a title, and it's one of the great rags to riches stories in MMA.
Yeah, I mean,
you just stayed course, and it ultimately paid off for him. So,
yeah, you can argue with his results at the top of the division, be like, and the biggest fights he had, he didn't do that great, whatever. But as you say, I mean, this is a dude who just was soldiering for years. And always seemed like he was going to be like, it seemed like losing to Gilbert Melendez for the Strikeforce belt was going to be the biggest fight Jorge Masvidal ever had, for a long time. And for him to go out and get back-to-back title shots, lose them both, and still immediately get a 2 top contender bouts out of losing them both. And be like, big prominent placement, get a whole crowd cheering for him. I mean, he lost, he retired, he had this whole corny political speech after it, and the crowd was still going nuts for him. Like, the man got famous out of all this. And and when it comes to prize fighting, I'm never going to begrudge anybody getting money and making something out of this.
And I like that, he's going out after losing to the best in the division. Like, we don't have to see him, he's got enough money, right, to where he doesn't have to stick around longer than he needs to the point where he's getting cut or he's just losing to just low-level talent that would have never lost to 5 years ago. So, and it's in front of his hometown. I think that's cool for him. And in front of his buddy Donald. Yours and his buddy Donald.
What? No. Don't pin that on me. Don't pin that on me. I don't want that. I don't need that. I don't need that. But it was, it was if he's going to be fighting top contenders, this was honestly the best he was going to do. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get utterly humiliated. He got a crowd that was still there behind him at home. And that's, for if you're going to be fighting top contenders past your prime, like, that's as good a ride into the sunset as you're going to get, pretty much.
Now, here's the real question.
Yeah.
How long before we see him in a boxing ring?
Oh, like 2 days, honestly. I mean, he's already doing game bred boxing and all that. Mm-hmm. I gotta imagine that it'll just be, 2 months from now we'll see you.
Oh, yeah. He'll be boxing Darren Till in no time.
All right, that brings us to then Gilbert Burns. Of course, he called for the winner of Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. I mean, I think they've got they've booked what's his name? Damn it, can't remember the name.
Hamza? Who?
No. They booked Bilal Muhammad. I really literally could not remember the name. That's rough. That's rough.
Irony at its finest.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry, Bilal. Yeah, I should be able to remember the name, but I mean, they booked Bilal Muhammad versus Shavkat. We've got, looking at our welterweight top rankings here. Chimaev, I think, going up to middleweight, but we still haven't got like a definitive next fight there for that. And that's gonna so Bilal Shavkat. I mean, honestly, Burns might have he's got a good argument there to be next in line. The UFC's shown no love for Muhammad yet, and I don't know that beating Shavkat Rakhmonov will get him any. And he might not. And if he doesn't, then Burns definitely has the argument of being the most notable contender out there. So.
And how can you not love Burns? He made a good point. Like, he is that dude that will fight anybody at any time. Like, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped in there and he fought Chimaev, and went at a point when it made no sense at all,
and made him look human.
Yeah.
Oh, someone in the comment section. How long before Masvidal runs for office? Ooh.
Oh God.
City council. Is he going to?
Yeah. Are we going to get? We're going to get another Huntington Beach story here. I don't know. Fighters that did not have largely the temperament for a political career.
Did BJ Penn win his race? Did he ever follow through with?
No, he did not. He did not come close. All right, bantamweight bout: Rob Font, Adrian Yanez. I admit, I was picking Yanez here. I was feeling the hype. I was like, man, Yanez, he's got the slick boxing. This is gonna be some back and forth. They're gonna trade in the pocket. I trust Yanez's hands to be a little sharper, and they come out. I'm feeling good about that. Yanez is looking like he's countering well. He's looking like he's there. He's present. He's in the moment. And then they really sat down and started trading, and suddenly you could realize that Rob Font just hits way harder. It doesn't matter if Yanez has the better hands.
Nope. Man, what's crazy is I was picking Yanez a week and a half ago, picking Yanez. And last weekend, I'm in Miami for the Karate Combat event, and Rob Font's there. And just listening to him talk, I'm like, what the fuck am I thinking? Like, Yanez has never beat anyone, never even faced anyone close to anyone Rob has faced.
It's true.
I was like, dude, he's gonna get pantsed. And I'll be damned. Font showed up. He showed up, and it was looking grim, right? He was wearing it on the face.
Yeah.
He had
his eyes were getting busted up. But
you could, if you watch it, you can tell Font really wanted to get that single collar tie to throw the widest hook I've ever seen in my life. Like, it came from Cuba. Like, that thing was insane. And the way Yanez, it was like a cartoon. The way he flew across the octagon, it was insane, man. Font. Like, the man is motivated. He's getting slept on. Like, people are sleeping off for some reason. Like,
I mean, we saw him up at the top of the mountain. We saw him climb all the way up there. And when he got up there, he Font earlier on, he was he was a pretty good puncher. He's got, some solid functional, very fundamental kickboxing, does everything. And he gets all the way to the top, and you're seeing him go out there, put that pace, trying to fight like the elite, and dudes were just walking through or eating it all and busting him up. And so it's hard, having seen that, to turn around and be like, oh, here's a new slick boxer with good hands. Rob Font is going to be able to just slam the door on this kid. I thought personally, Font might win the first. Yanez has tended to start a little slow out there sometimes. Yanez might have a big second round where he really finds his rhythm. Then he might fade late, and we might be talking oh, did Yanez do enough in one of those rounds? He got that second round, but did he do enough in either of the others? Font kind of scraping by, working volume. But I mean, Font just reminded, like, against guys that aren't elite, he is a big puncher and he is a tough dude. And he's never been knocked out. And you want to sit down there and trade bombs with him, you know, people are going to think twice about that again. They weren't thinking, you know, I think that those Aldo and Vera fights, they probably had Yanez thinking, you know what, I can do that too. And, well, maybe not.
No, there's a reason Font took this fight. Risky fight for him. He didn't have to take it, but he knew what he was doing. Yanez just he hasn't been in there with just near the caliber of opposition, like nowhere near.
It's
so
true.
This is a hard lesson for Yanez. Not the end of the world for him, but just a hard lesson.
Yeah, it's especially hard too, though, for the kid because he has been at this a lot longer than you'd think. Like, Yanez is 9 years into his career. That was another reason that I was willing to ride with him on this. Was like, you know, he's paid his dues. He's got experience. He might not have the biggest and the best experience, but he's right there in what should be his prime. And his first trip up to the top, you know, is just, you're right. There was a gulf, a real big gulf there between what he was used to and what Font could bring to him.
And like, Yanez sparked Tony Kelly, but he also got hit a lot in that fight. It was a short fight, but he was getting tagged up himself.
It's true.
And Tony Kelly is no Rob Font.
No.
Not trying to do the MMA math, but
no, it's true. You know what? You right. You had your fangirl moment in Karate Combat, and it rang true for you. Like, you know,
Alex Pereira was there too. So
okay, so you wasn't all magic, but the font pick wins out. All right, that brings us. Oh, and after the fight, you know, Font's calling for top guys again. I think honestly, I mean, I don't know. Unfortunately, like the very top of that division, you know, he could get Peter Yan. I guess Yan's in kind of a rough place where he needs to take a step back. But otherwise, you know, your Corey Sandhagens, your Merab Dvalishvili's, your other guys up at the very elite, they are all in heavy pursuit of staying in contention. My guess would be that probably the fight that Font's going to end up getting would be somebody like Umar Nurmagomedov. So, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah,
there's not many places for him to go. He's going to rematch Tito?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the other option might be if Song Yadong can beat Ricky Simone, then maybe he'd fight Song Yadong, something like that. But it'll probably be hard for him to get one of those real elite top 5 fights right now.
Yeah, he's fought a lot of guys.
He has, yeah. That brings us to a welterweight bout. Kevin Holland, Santiago Ponzanibio. And I don't know. I mean, it was a good fight. It was kind of it wasn't as good a fight as I would have hoped from Holland. He really got his leg chewed up bad. It's kind of weird because it's a fight where like Kevin Holland won every round, and he knocked Santiago Ponzanibio out. But like, if I'm his coaches, I'd be like, this is not your best fight, man. Like, you got kicked a lot, and Ponzanibio was in this fight way longer than he should have been, considering where he's at in his career and where you're at in your career, and how, you know, when it really came down to it and Holland really finally bit down and just rushed forward and took the fight to Ponzanibio, he put him away.
Well, I think Holland was just being extra reserved because he was coming off of 2 losses. 2 finishes. He got finished, you know, in back-to-back outings. The Hamzat thing, absolutely no shame there.
No.
Like, they made that fight the day of. But that Wonder Boy fight, I feel like was extra hard on Holland. Obviously, you know, he broke his hand. He lost the gentleman's agreement to stand and bang.
Yeah.
If not for that, he maybe would have won because he had moments where, you know, he got the takedown. So I think he wanted to actually win more so than put on a show in this match. And that's rare for Holland. You know, he wasn't out there trash talking. I think the thing he said was that he smelled weed in the arena.
Yeah.
Right? Like he wasn't trash talking at all. Everything he said to Santiago out there was jovial and really had nothing to do with the fight itself, or it wasn't typical Kevin Holland. I think he asked him if he was okay when Ponzi slipped on something.
Yeah, like Santiago Ponzanibio threw a kick and it looked like he actually he planted his knee back and slipped a little and may have actually hurt his knee a little. Like he grabbed at it briefly and Holland stopped to see if he was okay. And even after the fight, he knocks Ponzanibio out, lands one follow-up shot, and afterward he was like, I didn't follow up more because, basically he just likes the guy too much.
Yeah, that's wild. Sure. Okay.
Feel bad for Ponzanibio though, because he did get absolutely knocked out and came back so quick that he had no clue whatsoever. He's out there arguing with the ref, shaking his finger, all that, and then you show the replay up on the big screen, and you are face planted, not moving, and that follow-up shot comes in. It's there's no that woke you up. That did not.
I'm just glad they didn't interview him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was the recipe for disaster. But man, that leaping left hook, Holland covered so much distance with that thing, and that probably would have knocked out anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Ponzi didn't see it coming at all. He had no clue. And the way he fell on all fours and still face planted. Poor guy.
Yeah.
He is very likable, so I understand, Holland not wanting to be an asshole.
Yeah, sure. So he called out Jorge Masvidal after the bout, which obviously isn't going to happen now. Masvidal retired. But so what about Jack Della Maddalena instead?
Wow. I think
because Holland's not even ranked right now. So
Holland isn't ranked, but he's such a fringe fighter. I think that's a big step up for Della Maddalena.
Sure.
But I think that would be fireworks. That could that could probably headline a fight night card, honestly.
Yeah. It's either that or maybe somebody like Vicente Luque, but Luque's, he's not on his best form lately, so
that shouldn't matter. Yeah, anybody who isn't coming to shoot takedowns. With Holland. That's who I want to see him fight.
All right. Let's jump down now.
Well, him and Stephen Thompson, same kind of trains. Yeah. I only want them fighting strikers here on out.
No, definitely that. Definitely. I mean, there's a reason I would say Jack Della Maddalena and Vicente Luque, and I'm not saying Michael Chiesa or anything like that.
Right.
I don't need that. I don't need Neil Magny versus Kevin Holland. I have no desire for that at all.
Right. Cartier.
No. All right. That brings us to for old men, I think this is the cathartic fight, the cathartic moment of the card, right? For us old dudes. Raul Rosas Jr., Christian Rodriguez. Because Rosas Jr., no discredit to him, fighters, they're all going to be thinking this way. You need to have the confidence. You need to have the swagger. But Rosas is out there talking about how he can beat Aljamain Sterling, how he's going to be the youngest champ ever. Nobody's ready for him. And he's 18, and you just want to be like, man, I am far too old to feel like this kid is just going out there and he gets everything. I'm too bitter. I don't know what it is. But seeing Christian Rodriguez just go out there and stuff his shot, Rosas got the fight he wanted. Rosas, this has to be a bigger wake-up call for him because he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He went out there, he got takedowns, he got the back take, he got the arm around the neck, he got everything that he does in every fight to get a win. And Rodriguez just fought it out and beat him. And,
I was concerned for Rosas when I learned that Rodriguez missed weight.
Yeah.
Because Rosas is not going to stand with anybody. We know what he comes
No.
to do. So I was like, damn, Rosas is going to he's going to try to come and grapple someone who's going to have a weight advantage over him. That sucks.
It was only 1 pound, though. It's only 1 pound.
Stop it, Zane.
Come on.
You go. We're on video, okay? We're back on the video. Don't be that guy. 1 pound might as well be 20.
You're saying he's in there with Yoel Romero now?
I'm saying there's weight classes for a reason.
I know.
Okay. Yeah, so I was a little concerned when I heard that, and just seeing how hard Rosas went for that initial takedown, I was like, "There's no way you're gonna blow your wad if you keep doing this."
Yeah.
Nobody. I don't care how old you are, unless you're 4 years old. You're not pushing that kind of pace. You can't do that. There's not. You ain't got enough hemoglobin in your blood. You're not carrying that kind of oxygen. It's not happening.
Rosas is definitely going to need a long nap after that one. You can bet the moment he got out to the back of the octagon, he just toddler passed out. His dad's carrying him over his shoulder back into the hotel.
Oh yeah. Oh, he probably had a warm bottle, just milk drunk.
Yeah, I mean, the kid's got a bright future. Hey, he definitely needs to learn to strike, because there's also obviously a reason that he's pressing that hard to take people down. And we saw it once he got stuck on his feet. There's no connective tissue to his striking game. He was dead tired. He's not getting takedowns. And the first thing he tries is a spinning back kick that gets him countered really hard. And then a spinning back fist that gets him countered really hard. And then a jump knee that gets him countered really hard. It's man, a jab and a low kick, just some basic fundamentals would help you a lot to handle and manage this kind of issue. And that stuff's not there. But he's got all the time to learn. This is just going to have to be. I think this is probably. It was a rude wake up call that was always going to be coming, because there was no way with a game that limited that he was actually going to be the youngest UFC champion ever in a division like bantamweight.
Right. And you said it, limited. He's got a very. I don't want to call him a one-trick pony, but you know what he's coming to do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Is Christian Rodriguez a world beater? I don't fucking think so.
No.
I don't see it. I don't see it at all. He should have finished Rosas. He should have finished him.
Yeah.
Rosas was dead tired. He was basically begging to be choked. He was begging to be put in that RNC.
I mean, I'm just saying, man, nobody's getting an arm under that chin. I don't care how tired he is. Don't choke. Just armbar the dude. You're not going to fit anything under that thing.
Head arm triangle might be.
Maybe. Yeah. True. Yeah. He might be able to.
Arm triangle. Now that I think of it. But yeah, it was kind of a shit fight, honestly.
No, it was. It was two guys they're regional good, and they got rushed to the UFC. I think Rodriguez, did he come through Contender Series, or was he just part of
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
But he had a couple UFC fights already.
Yeah, I know he had a couple. I just couldn't remember if he was part of the.
No, he didn't. No. He did, and then he took a fight. Check it out. So he did, but then he didn't make the cut. So he took a fight regionally again, and then they brought him in. So
because Contender Series, if you fight on Contender Series, even if you don't get signed anymore, this whole was it good enough or wasn't it? You automatically go on the short list. So many people who just have fought on Contender Series have gotten signed to the UFC 6 months down the line. So I'm not surprised about that, but. The Contender Series is what it's kind of bringing through. It's bringing through a lot of guys who, if you can have one shining moment, if you can impress somebody on one day, it doesn't really matter if you're ready or not. you're going to get in, you're going to get signed. And Rosas, they loved the kid because he was coming to the UFC when he was like 17, just turning 18, and was full of confidence, like, I'm going to be champion and fighting grown men and winning. But how good were those grown men? How good was his game? How ready was he? And it's not that ready.
It makes me think of guys like Robbie Lawler and Nick Diaz, who were fighting around that age in the UFC, and like Vitor Belfort, but just how complete they already were. And we're talking early 2000s, and they were so much more complete than a Rosas.
Well, it's a different era too. I mean, being complete meant
it's like it's regressive. Shouldn't it be the other way, right?
Yeah. I feel you. I think it's complete to a relative past, like they were more complete at the time compared to their competition at the time. But competition nowadays is so much deeper that it's so much harder at that age to have any kind of complete game, to look like you have any kind of complete game. But nonetheless, I mean, it's
even
harder
the
than
old
ever.
heads. The whole old heads are sticking around because they have the take.
It's true. I think the big thing is that it's harder than ever in MMA right now to not have a striking game. If you don't have hands, it is harder than ever to survive.
You have to have everything, honestly.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to our fight of the night. Winner, Kelvin Gastelum, Chris Curtis, middleweight bout. And man, Kelvin Gastelum should wish that he lost like how many fights did he lose? He lost 5 of his last 6. He should wish that he went on that kind of terrible streak like 2 years into his career and then had to get sidelined for a couple of years, because all of that clearly lit a fire under him that has never been there before. You've never seen a round 1 Kelvin Gastelum like we saw tonight.
One time when he knocked out Michael Bisping.
Oh, okay.
It's the only other time he's come out like this. And when he came out against Izzy. That's the other
first
time.
round against Izzy was not like this, though. It was not.
But
it was
it's
much
the Kelvin
more.
We want, though. It's light on his feet, attacking the legs, throwing hard 1-2s, 1-2-3s. That's the Kelvin. That's the Kelvin we all want. That's the Kelvin we've only had flashes of. So is this a new leaf? I can't buy that yet.
Sure.
Glad as fuck I got to see it. I was stoked.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Kelvin. Like you could easily not get knocked out, because I picked Kelvin because he's so freaking tough. I just didn't think the volume was going to be there for Curtis, and I didn't think he was going to knock him out. But man, just the way he showed up, he just seemed so youthful and so just full of life, and like he had a passion for it. He had passion behind him. Like he was in it the whole time. He was focused. I don't want to say it's a new Kelvin Gastelum, but this performance here, if we could replicate this, I mean, he looked like a world beater out there.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to lie.
This was great because, I mean, Curtis rallied. You said, I didn't think Chris would have the volume. And I understand that. I didn't think Kelvin would have the volume to win, even if he didn't get knocked out, frankly, either, because Kelvin's no kind of volume puncher either, usually. Curtis rallied back. He was right there. He won the second round of this fight. And, he was right back in it. He was landing huge shots. He was looking slick on the counter.
Body work.
Yeah. He was putting combinations together. It was great. And Kelvin came back in round 3 and dug deep and just kept the pressure on and kept taking the fight to him. And I mean, for as durable as Kelvin Gastelum is, he's always been hard to tire. He's always had a gas tank. He's always been fast. He's always hit hard. If he can actually fight with fire and come out and be aggressive, I mean, the dude can hang. He can be an elite fighter. That is why he's had so many chances, why he's been able to fail so many times at the top and keep right there in the thick of things. So,
what's wild is he was a betting underdog when the odds first dropped, and by fight night he was the favorite.
Yeah.
So it's a very rare odds flip that doesn't involve, fixed or nefarious activity of some sort, as far as we know.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume it, but great fight for him. I mean, I got to say after this, I mean, do you throw him back into something big? Sean Strickland's out there. We could do, Kelvin Gastelum against Strickland. There's Dricus du Plessis is out there.
They were supposed to fight once already.
Yeah. And then he's coming off a loss, but there's still Nasruddin Imavov out there who, that would be more of a, like, these guys, we need to see Kelvin Gastelum prove something still, so take this fight. But otherwise, what do you think? You thinking Strickland or you thinking du Plessis?
I'm thinking Dricus, but there's other people I'd rather see Dricus fight.
So
like in
Strickland,
Kelvin.
Oh yeah, if you're Kelvin, you're aiming for that fight because it also feels like such a winnable fight because Kelvin's so hard to finish and he's got the gas tank. If you're Kelvin Gastelum, you got to think I can survive whatever Dricus du Plessis throws at me. And
right, exactly, and that's the thing is that's how Dricus gets people.
Yeah,
like he'll let you beat on him, and then he'll finish you. So,
yeah,
if you can't finish Kelvin. Yeah, that's the fight to make. Whether or not Dricus is up for that.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to a women's strawweight bout. Luana Pinheiro, Michelle Waterson, and not robbery of the night. This fight was far too close to be a robbery. But I certainly scored it for Waterson. I thought
I scored it for Waterson first and third.
Yeah.
Same. She's the only one that did anything in the third.
Yeah, I don't understand how you give Pinheiro the third. I think Waterson had to win that, but the problem is that little flurry Pinheiro had at the end of round one, where she buckled Waterson's leg, and I think Waterson even a knee even dropped to the canvas in that. Maybe
I didn't see the knee, but maybe.
I think they showed it on the replay because in the real time, the angle didn't really show Waterson at all, barely. But they showed it from the other side on a replay later, and you could see like her knee drop down for a second. So I could see, like I thought Waterson, she knocked Pinheiro over with a front kick to the face in that round. She landed some other big strikes. She landed that back elbow that stumbled Pinheiro in that round.
Sweet. Yeah.
I thought she did enough to win it. But the argument is there. It's close enough that I'm not going to say it's a robbery or anything like that. I will say that for Pinheiro, this was a better showing than she's had before. She won her past fights, but like an illegal up kick from Randa Marcos, that doesn't tell us anything. And beating Sam Hughes, Hughes has gotten a lot better since then and isn't bad, but she's nobody's idea of a contender or anything like that. So for Pinheiro to come out here and look pretty collected and look powerful, chew the hell out of Waterson's leg with those low kicks, that's a better showing for her than she's had before.
Yeah, for these 2 rounds. That third was abysmal.
It was not a good third round.
I don't know if she was just really – well, yeah, she was gassed. I remember her huffing and puffing, taking some pretty big breaths. So definitely work on, but, she squeaked by this one. But what a name, right? This is huge. This is the biggest win of her career.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's going to set her up for another ranked fight, and that's going to be somebody, Tabitha Ricci. Honestly, I think should, maybe line her up to fight Tatiana Suarez. She might not be ready for it, but Suarez is dropping back down to the division and needs another test. She needs to establish herself back at 115. So
yeah, and you beat a karate hottie. You're you're off to the races. Like anyone's their game now.
Yep. So, all right. That brings us to, if Raul Rosas Jr. was the cathartic moment of the night for us old dudes being like, you young kids don't know anything, damn it. Joe Pyfer, Gerald Mearshart, that's the pain in my heart for us old men, because GM3 just got sparked by Pyfer. And the thing with Mearshart is that he's had a ton of fights where you put him in there against a young prospect and he can totally sun some kid and show him what's up and hang out, get beat up for a round, rally back, and suddenly hit a sweep in round 3 and he's choking you out and you're like, where the hell did this come from? What is this? How did this old man get here? But the other side of that is he's been finished in the first round 11 times. And
that's kind of how I read him. If you got that one hitter quitter, and you're a prospect, you can maybe get through GM3. If you don't have that one hitter quitter, you might get tuned up and then submitted.
Yeah,
by GM3. So,
Pyfer had it.
Has that? He's got that sauce, man.
The big thing is, I was going to say the big thing that I noticed going in, and it was very true with this knockout, is Pyfer's body movement, his fluidity, his coordination from hand to hand, foot to foot, the way he twists through his strikes. He's just a really fluid puncher. So that when he actually gets when he lands a hook, when he's flowing through and really connecting on a punch, a little clipping shot from him, it's going to hurt a ton because it is not an arm punch by any sense of the word. You're getting every ounce of torque in that.
Efficient at transferring his energy.
He really is. And you can see, he clipped Mearshart, and Mearshart was done. He did not even try to get back up.
Yeah, he was pretty hurt. The referee could have stepped in at any point. It was clear that Mearshart didn't want to be there anymore. But he's like, it's GM3. He could take a beating and come back and or maybe Joe's gonna jump himself into a triangle or something. So he gave GM3 the chance GM3 has earned, with his reputation. And this was just Pfeiffer's night, man. Yeah, good for him. It's might jump him up the division into some deeper water, but maybe. He might jump him into I'm thinking Jun Yong Park or Joaquin Buckley seems like the obvious fight that we all would want to see. That is perfect. Oh man. Yeah. All right. That brings us to a women's strawweight bout: Lupita Godinez, Cynthia Calvillo. I have no idea what the judge was on who gave 2 rounds of this to Cynthia Calvillo. I could see giving her the last one close, generously. I would be just as happy with 30-27 Godinez as 29-28. But 2 out of 3 rounds for the whole leaf blower Holly Holm routine thing where she was just throwing 50, 70 strikes around and landing 15 of them. Come on. I gave Calvillo the second round based on empty volume. Oh, you ho. It's empty volume. It's something. It's something. No. It's something. Loopy didn't do anything. You're killing me. What was she doing? She landed the better strikes. She landed the better strikes. Name one of her combinations. Okay, a right hand. She landed at least one right hand. It was better than... No idea. There were no significant strikes landed in that round. What are you talking about, Zane? No. I'm not listening to this. I can't believe it. I'm betrayed. At least I cited empty volume. Okay, fine. Anyway. I'm not even kidding. I write down my little scorecard and I write a little reason next to the round and empty volume. It's something. All right. Well, as disgusted as I am, I do not have nearly enough care in my heart to keep talking about that fight. It was fine. It happened.
It's good for
Well, you know
Godinez
what?
for her to show that she can have a fight where she doesn't get takedowns and her striking doesn't just dissolve.
Well, maybe it's a good time to bring up the fact that Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald 2 got put into the UFC Hall of Fame tonight.
It's true, a much better fight.
An insanely
a
fight so good that the pandemic hit in 2020. June Williams and I did this tournament of 32 fights for the one fight to watch before the world ends, and this was the one that won out. Bloody Yellow commenters all voted on who they thought was gonna win out, and we put different fights against each other, and Lawler Rory 2 ended up taking the cake, and here it is getting into the Hall of Fame. So
hey, and I'm happy for anything. I'm happy for anything that gets my man Robbie Lawler into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves every bit of that. I would argue, if Cowboy Cerrone deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, Robbie Lawler deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, he does.
Just on his own merit.
How could you not put Robbie Lawler in the Hall of Fame? That's criminal. And that's another thing. There needs to be like an overall MMA Hall of Fame. It ain't gonna happen. Well, not on a big scale, but you look at the body of work over his career. And in fact, wait a minute. Oh yeah, no. Did the UFC or Endeavor, they still own Strikeforce and all that, right? Like
yeah.
Oh yeah. Why would they not? Same company, put them in the Hall of Fame. Former Strikeforce champion.
Build an Apache Palace. That'll be the gift the UFC can give them for when they welched on their "we're going to give you guys an event" thing when Disney stepped in and told them to get the fuck out.
The Tachi Palace. Remember that place?
Yeah.
They still do Muay Thai fights there?
Probably. Got to imagine. All right. Let's go down now to a catchweight 160-pound bout. Ignacio Bahamondes, Trey Ogden, and Bahamondes did what Zellhuber should have done, which is actually just throw barely enough strikes to make sure that the fact that Trey Ogden wasn't going to throw any strikes lost him the fight.
Yeah, Ogden was at range. He had zero know-how to deal with that kind of range, and credit to Bahamondes. Like he was throwing long strikes, staying on the outside, and keeping Ogden exactly where he needed to be for him to hit him, while Ogden was too far away to land any kind of offense of his own. So this was like a clinic. Bahamondes just styled on Ogden. A perfect fight for him, honestly.
Yeah, he talked about how he was going to remember it because it was such a great performance for him. I mean, nobody else is going to remember that fight, but I'm glad that he got to have the moment.
I mean, it was for him, but it takes two to tango. And Ogden, he just stayed at range and got picked apart.
We talked about this on the Vivi too. He's a very negative fighter. He's a very subtractive fighter. His whole thing is like staying way outside so that you can't get to him. And then he'll like peck at you with little strikes and stuff like that. So having somebody out there against him who had more range than him was just always going to be like, what are you going to do about that? All right. That brings us to a featherweight bout. Steve Garcia, Shayilan Nurdanbeke. And man, I'm thrilled for this because I love watching Steve Garcia win fights. He's one of those guys who he either gets absolutely wrecked in a way that makes him look terrible, or he absolutely wrecks somebody in a way that makes him look like a complete badass and the most violent dude out there. So I'm always happy to see him win because when he wins, you're just like, dude, where the hell has Steve Garcia been? Like, how violent is that dude? And he wrecked Shayilan Nurdanbeke.
I don't think if there's anyone more surprising than Steve Garcia.
Yeah.
Like, just when I think I know, it turns out I have no idea. Like, I think he's going to win, he loses. I think he's going to lose, he wins. And like you said, it's always in spectacular fashion. Like, the band knows how to lose and he knows how to win. Either way, it's a show. And like, I just remember covering him in Bellator back in the day, and he was just losing random fights, and then I was shocked when I actually saw him get to the UFC, and here he is just catching bodies like left and right.
That left hook to the body, the kick to the liver, followed by the hook to the liver,
Toes in the liver.
Yeah, awesome fight, awesome performance from him. And then my moment of pride for the card, the I called it fight that I was super happy to call, which is Sam Hughes.
Yo, Tom Bien.
Yeah,
Tom Bien.
Yeah. Sam Hughes beat Jacqueline Amarim. Amarim, she was a top prospect, had a bunch of hype coming in, had the jiu-jitsu pedigree and all that. And it's just like, you looked at her record and it's like you've only won in round one against terrible competition. And Sam Hughes has been getting a lot better. Just consistently a tough, difficult, physical fighter to take out of her game. And Amarim, she got her chances in round one and she couldn't finish them. And Hughes just took her apart from there.
Yeah, it's the experience, like you said. Hughes has been there. She's fought tough competition. She's been through some shit. And they touched on this on the broadcast, but she is a tremendous athlete. She has cardio for days. And like you said, if you're a one-round fighter and you've never experienced, going 3 hard rounds, let alone in the UFC against that kind of opposition under the bright lights, it's the big stage. You're the heavy favorite coming in. And this was a trap fight for her.
Yeah, it really was. So
she was so close to getting those rear naked chokes too.
Yeah.
The submission defense of Hughes was just on point. I mean, all credit in the world. Sam Hughes, she gritted through some really bad positions. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Just will, determination, smart hand fighting. She got through it and the gas was gone in rounds 2 and 3. So what an upset. Congrats, Zane, for calling this upset.
Thank you.
It always feels a little bit sweeter.
It is.
Who's not supposed to win and you call it. It's just
and you know why it happens just the way you think it is. It's a thing of beauty. So let's go back to the top. Israel Adesanya, champion again. Last style bender once again has the belt. Terrible news for Robert Whittaker fans out there. All our Robert Whittaker fans are sad tonight. Great news for nobody else in that division, really. Pereira was really the good news for the rest of that division because he was the champ nobody had fought before. He was the guy that, your Marvin Vittori's, your Paulo Costas, you're all these guys were looking, your Jared Cannoniers. They're all like, I haven't fought Alex Pereira. I can get that fight. But Adesanya, it's bad news for everybody. So Alex Pereira, they'll probably book him back in the title again as long as he's willing to stay in the division. And otherwise, really fun night of fights. Honestly, just a lot of good action.
Yeah.
Some big upsets, some big finishes. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
And we got retirement. Masvidal hung up the gloves.
That's right. Yep. Jorge Masvidal hangs up the gloves. A hell of a career under his belt. I think it's the right time for him to go, but man put a lot into the octagon. Was a lot of fun to watch for a long time. So, respect for that. And on that note, we're going to sign off. You can find me on Twitter at @TheSameTime. You can find Eddie on Twitter at @TheEddieMercado. Shout out to our Substack, Bloody Elbow Podcast Substack, where you can find bonus content. We're going to have a little bonus show that we're going to record right after this. So if you're subscribed to our Substack, you'll get a little bonus show. If you're not, you won't. Sorry. And otherwise, you can find us day in, day out over on bloodyelbow.com. And, of course, now that we're back on YouTube, give us a like,
comment,
help us out, subscribe.
Ask us questions. Talk shit. I don't care.
That's right. Eddie doesn't care. I care deeply, so don't talk shit about me, but talk shit about Eddie. He can take it. All right, everybody, on that note, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.